My name is Nikki Christensen. I have been in the industry for over 17 years at this point. I did start as a study coordinator at the University of California, Davis. I worked for many years as a CRA at a pharmaceutical company, and then went independent and continued to monitor for both sponsors and CROs. In this webinar, we're going to discuss the regulatory requirements and the guidances regarding adequate investigator oversight and appropriate delegation of study tasks. We're going to review the documentation requirements and determine some strategies for the appropriate delegation of these tasks, because the most important thing when we read these regulations is to understand how we will apply them in the real world. Our specific objectives for today: to recognize industry concerns about adequate delegation and improper delegation of study activities, to identify documentation requirements for proper delegation and investigator oversight, and identify strategies for determining role assignments specific to a study project and the requirements of PI oversight. So these all sound very similar, but there are so many different layers that go into what a PI is responsible for and how that can be managed. And we're going to talk about the different roles, not just at a site in terms of overseeing a study coordinator, but how is that managed with sub-investigators? What about if you have multiple sites? What if you have an SMO involved? What about when you're working with multiple departments? What are the responsibilities for overseeing those departments as well? This is really applying it to real world, and what does this mean today? The regulations themselves are very slow to change. We do have a number of guidance documents that have come out in the last few years. What does that mean today? What I will say is that even though the regulations haven't changed, I think the expectations have changed. So we'll talk about that in terms of documentation.